So what is up, guys? This is just gonna be a quick tutorial. Someone actually asked me a question in relation to my Maverick, although this won't be Maverick specific. And this question was actually pretty valid. I actually had the same question myself after I got my pickup truck. Just concerns of how stable it is to actually have it on the bed of my truck without it flying off. Yeah, so I'll just get into it real quick. Just quick thing about straps. Rule of thumb, most people will say do not use the ratchet straps. Ratchet straps will over tighten, especially because generally speaking, if you're not watching what you're doing, you could crank it way too much and actually crack your kayak or crush your kayak in some sense. So it is very you got to be cautious when you're using ratchet straps, but it's not recommended. Type of straps you should be using, generally speaking, are these right here, the kayak straps. Right here, all it is that you manually pull, and it will tighten based on the teeth strike here. And actually, when you pull it and let it go, it actually gives a little bit. So you should always have some play. So that's the kayak straps, and the ratchet straps are actually these things here, like that. So loading the kayak. So generally what I do is I tend to use the ratchet straps in the front here. I hook it down on the little hook there and leave the long strap going underneath the kayak and just laying on the bed of the kayak initially, and then after that's there, I'll slide the kayak into the truck, and then after I slide the kayak into the truck, I will hook this lock portion into the same loop on the bottom. Make sure it's the bottom, just so that it's not jumping around, and then I'll put it in and ratchet in, and see how there is play in the straps. You do not want that strap super tight to the point where there's no stretch. So make sure that is always a must. Okay, and then on the rear, just one other thing, when I slide the kayak into the truck, I try to make sure it's butted up to one side. The point doesn't have to be, obviously, because it's not going to hit all the way all the time, but at least one side touching up against the side so that there is no rock. You guys will see that it doesn't rock, and this side is held up by the strap pulling back over that other way. So, and then on the rear, pretty much I wrap this around once, leave it hanging, and then over here, same deal, wrap it around once, flip the strap over, and I'll tighten to the point where there isn't any wiggle, but obviously still some stretch in the straps. That's generally how I load it. I tend to leave the seat on the kayak, obviously have it down, and what I'll do is I'll have a bungee that keeps the seat closed so it doesn't fly around. I put my paddles like this, tuck it under the seat, and just leave it sliding up to the front there. It won't catch wind, it won't fly, it won't have any resistance. Also, if I actually have some other stuff, let's just say I have a lot of stuff in the bed of the truck, like, I don't know, buckets, icebox, whatever, on the side of the truck, I will tend to put like dip net on top of where the paddle is, and then strap it all in. And also the question of what if things fly out the back over here. All I do is I just actually add another ratchet strap, or even a bungee cord for all that matter. It doesn't really matter. I'll actually hook it onto the bottom here, and then take it over and hook it to the top over there, and I'll leave a diagonal rope there, which will prevent it from flying out. If I'm super concerned, I'll put another one on top, so there'll be essentially a V web there, blocking anything from flying out. Always want to have a flag out the rear. Just one of those safety things. You just want to make sure that it's pretty apparent that there's something extended beyond the normal truck. But that is about it. I guess I've had my car coming up to a year now, just short of a year. I love it. I actually love the fact that, especially because I am filming videos and stuff, I'm always constantly worried about charging batteries. But with the outlets, it definitely helps. The car is a generator on its own, right? And if you guys don't know, hybrids, when the engines are on, obviously it's quiet when it's not running, but it'll only kick on when it needs to recharge on its own. But generally speaking, I just leave the car on pretty much, and charge my batteries and stuff. Whether I'm at a campsite or not, it's not like a car where a typical car where it's just constantly just pumping out carbon monoxide, right? It's just because the gas is burning, right? But this car, nice thing is it just sits quiet until it needs to recharge. It'll run a little bit and then shut off as it goes along. So yeah, your car is like a generator on its own. I have the outlet in the bed of the truck. I have the outlet in the front of the truck, as well as all the USB plugs on the inside of the truck. So yeah, it's my own personal generator, I guess you could say. So I'm loving it. Quick update, more realistic driving. I think I'm down to 36 miles per gallon, so still very efficient. And I think it actually dropped down that much mainly because I was actually believe it or not, when I had my rack, my kayak rack, I never took it off. I had to just fold it up. That creates obviously air resistance. That dropped the miles per gallons a little bit, and obviously you could equate the other rest to I guess driving a little bit faster. I'll just leave it at that. So that did drop down my average MPGs to 36.3, and that seems to be where I'm kind of holding at. But again, just if you are driving very safe, within the limits, not doing anything beyond typical speeds, I maxed out at 43.7 miles per gallon. So you can get that efficient if you really like. So yeah, nothing new with the truck so far. I'm not sure too much of what I'm going to be doing, to be honest. I do plan to, I'm waiting on my roof rack components that seems to be sold out forever. So I may add a roof rack for just added luggage space, especially if I'm taking my kayak and going camping with the family. I would like to have it. I've also bounced around the idea of a bed cover, but obviously that means that my current bar setup and all that would not work. So yeah, just considering a few options here as I move along. But I'll just wrap it up here for that right now. For those of you that don't know, I don't know if everyone got it or if it's me just special and maybe they'll take it back. But obviously there were a few recalls with the Maverick, but they actually even just sent me a YETI bottle apologizing for the recalls that has been happening lately. So but I think there's a total of 3 or 4 recalls. Some were fixed before I got my truck, but then I did take my truck in for it was a airflow issue, I guess, in the engine bay, and the second one was related to airbags. They both got it done within a day, so it was very fast. It's nothing like they had it for weeks on end, so it was fine. So and then one other defect that I had that I mentioned in a prior video was some paint chipping. That's been a common concern for some people, but once again they fixed that in a matter of a couple of days. So no inconvenience to me in my opinion. So but yeah, that's pretty much a wrap. As you could tell, I'm trying to get my kayak season started here in the next few weeks. There's reports of stripers, flounder, tog, everything coming in to the inshore ground, so I'm definitely excited. I have some new plans for this year. I will be dabbling in freshwater kayak fishing, and I'll just leave it at that for now. So but I look forward to posting more frequently as the season progresses and gets underway here. So yeah, stay tuned, and I'll be back shortly, hopefully. Thanks, guys.